Barbara?
Wolf, the 1,800 U.S. troops here in the Horn of Africa are mainly conducting humanitarian relief missions, but they are also training militaries out here in Africa. They are conducting anti-terrorism operations. They are looking for piracy and smuggling. They are worried about Al-Qaeda. Armed U.S. troops brought CNN to Somalia's northern border region for a first-hand look at the latest flashpoint in Africa, and the country, the U.S. military says, is a growing safe haven for Al-Qaeda. Even in this no-man's land, security is essential. There is also a tense border dispute here between Somalia and Ethiopia. There is a threat of war. Rear Admiral Richard Hunt commands 1,800 U.S. troops here in the Horn of Africa.
I think the biggest terrorist threat that we have in this area centers on Somalia. And a lot of that has to do with the known Al-Qaeda operatives that we've had there in the past. It goes back to the 98 bombings in Nairobi, Dar es Salaam.
Hunt's comments are remarkable because the U.S. has had no relations with Somalia since the military pulled out of Mogadishu after the Black Hawk Down incident more than a decade ago. The U.S. troops now in this region are working mainly on humanitarian relief efforts, but there is increasing concern that the radical Islamic militia that rules much of southern Somalia will use its al-Qaeda connections to launch new attacks. This week in Mogadishu, thousands of Somalis gathered in support of the Islamic Courts Union militia, which is calling for a new jihad.
We are very concerned with the amount of extremism that is starting to be exhibited.
Hunt has little doubt that the Islamic militia in Somalia is a threat.
They, again, espouse global jihad. They have, we think, we are getting indications that there is direct al-Qaeda relationship with them, providing some of the training and background and resource support.
Back at the border, it's easy to see there really is no border. This region is why the U.S. military worries so much that al-Qaeda terrorists can readily move and plan their next attacks. Pile of rocks you see behind me is the border marking Ethiopia. Somalia lies just beyond. When you look around here and you see how remote and rugged it is, you begin to understand why the U.S. is so concerned that terrorists could readily move through this area.
Well, Barbara,